Welcome back to Cosmic Compass, the leading astrocartography podcast where we talk all about locational astrology, astrocartography, and predictive timing. And today I have such an amazing guest, such a kindred spirit, similar joyful fairy floating around the world, doing all the astrology things, Paige Otis. Thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me. This is the deepest joy.
Oh, you are such a light. I'm just so in awe of you and your joy and how you built your astrocartography business, and you're helping people find the best places for them and getting your work out there. How did you get to where you are?
Oh my goodness. Well, where did we start? I have been traveling the world since I was 16 years old. My dance group got invited to perform all across Europe. And so when I said yes to that, I was a little 16-year-old and just started traveling the world and dancing in castles and just the most incredible experiences that you can't even believe. And that really awakened my love for travel. Like from the moment I was able to hop on that first international flight. And as a Sag moon, after that, it was kind of like game over. So I've been traveling the world for so long. And when Saturn came across my midheaven in Aquarius is when I came across astrology. And it was like this beautiful remembering. It was almost like I wasn't learning from the mind. I was like remembering an ancient language that my soma knew, my soul knew. And it was like an insatiable appetite that I could never satisfy. And then once I found astrocartography paired with my love of travel, it was game over because I could see when I traveled the world, how different places held energy. And I was like, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, that's so magical. I know. And it's like when you first hear about astrocartography and then you look up your map, it's like, oh my gosh, these stories, how I felt in these places. And oh my gosh, and so when you found astrocartography, you started doing readings. And so what are you doing now with astrocartography? How are you using it today?
Yeah, I use it in so many different ways. I mean, so I've been traveling internationally, living as a nomad for quite a few years. And now I feel really the call to root down and find my specific home on this earth. So I'm using it in that way, obviously, in my personal life every single day. And then I'm helping clients find their best places in the world, which is such an honor. I just had a client who met her soulmate, fell deeply in love. They're going to get married. I have another client who is moving to a location to write her memoir. I have a couple yesterday that just reached out that I've been working with, and they're in the middle of moving to Ireland. And so it's I'm able to use this work that has so profoundly changed my life and help other people. And it is just an absolute dream come true.
Oh my God, that's magical. And are you a Gemini rising?
Yes.
So you have your moon in the 7th.
Yes.
Oh, so working one-on-one with clients. That's
yeah.
Heart fulfillment.
I literally have moon conjunct the descendant, right there.
Oh my gosh, that's magical. And where were you born? Because you've got the moon descendant probably really close to where you were born, right?
Yeah. So I was born in Northern California. Mm-hmm.
Oh, magical. And where are you now?
I'm in Oregon right now, which is where my family's from. And yeah, I've just kind of been stateside for a while, kind of catching my breath from all the international travel, but now I'm ready to go back out.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is fascinating that you're in Oregon right now, because I'm going to have to look up my map and see if I have any transits going through Oregon today, because I just had a live stream with another astrologer and she's in Oregon, or she's from Oregon and she has her whole family's in Oregon. And I'm like, okay, what's going on in Oregon today? Do I go through that area or something? It's weird.
Wow. Do you have any astrocartography lines in Oregon?
I have a Jupiter ascendant line and the moon MC.
I mean, say less.
So do you feel like you found your home, or are you still searching and exploring?
See, the thing which is so beautiful about astrocartography, and when you travel to these places, it's I love each place for a different reason.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in the time of my life where I'm like, okay, I adored Portugal. I loved Egypt. I loved all of these places. And now what do I really want to call in? Which is such, a beautiful nuance of this work, because it's like, I have so many homes on this earth. And now it's like, okay, do I want to call in career expansion? Do I want to call in romantic partnership? Do I want to focus on myself and my healing? And so now I'm kind of in the nuance and the nitty gritty of going into it and being like, okay, here are my priorities. Here's where I want to go. Like, I'm thinking about Denver. I have some really supportive career lines going through Denver, and possibly going back to Austin, Texas, which is like my North Node line, which is the last time we connected. So
Yes.
many exciting things. Yeah.
I remember when we did a live class, I think it was last summer, you were
Mhm.
in Austin when we
Yes.
talked. I remember.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
fun. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of astrologers in Denver too, a ton of meetups and
Yeah.
communities. So it's a cool way to be a part of that and get to know other people in the astrology community. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And also, how did you get started with astrology too? Like, did you find it on YouTube, or like for me, it was like the local bookstore around the corner from my house, but I didn't hear about astrocartography until a podcast, and
Mm.
then heard about like Earth vortices. And then I did a deeper dive and I was exploring Google. So how did you get deeper into astrology?
Yeah, I would say, like, as soon as I saw my birth chart for the first time, which I think it was, honestly, everyone asked this question. I'm like, how did astrology find me? Because it was so mystical and magical. It's almost like hard to find the tangible place that it started.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it was like an ad that I saw for astrology school. And I was like, oh, interesting. What's this? And then I was like, I really want to do this. And then I was like, wait, I'm not just a Pisces sun. Wait, I have a whole chart. And then when I saw my whole chart, I started sobbing. And I just was like, oh, I remember everything. Like,
Yeah.
this is my soul. This is what I want to do. So I hopped into astrology school, did every single program, every opportunity I had, I took. And then there would be little whispers about astrocartography. I'm like, what's that? Like little workshops that I would take, like going to Norwalk and hearing, workshops there. And I'm like, oh, this is what I meant to be doing. There is the astrology of travel. Like, say less.
Yes, I know. And that's the magic. It's like when you niche as a business owner, you kind of create a space where you can really like catch a wave and take a lot of space, And I see there's so many astrologers that I really admire. They all do their own thing. Like they'll do electional astrology or health astrology. Locational astrology is just so fascinating. Do you have any favorite lines that you've been to traveling that you love, like the energy of?
So many. Two that really come to mind. The first one is my Venus IC line in Egypt.
Wow.
Hands down, my favorite place I've ever been on earth. And as a fellow traveler, everybody asks you, where's your favorite place? And I've never been able to say, because I love each location for a different reason. Once I went to my Venus IC line, Egypt. Egypt is my favorite place on this earth. And it was quite a mystical story. So my cousin was going to Egypt with her grandmother for a once in a lifetime trip that she had planned, like her grandmother had planned. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. I'm so excited for you guys. And didn't really think much about it. Like, Egypt hadn't been on my mind at all. And I had a dream one night where Cleopatra, like the essence of Cleopatra, literally came to me and she said, you need to go to Egypt. And I woke up with full body chills and I texted my cousin and I was like, so I just had this dream. I'm not trying to intrude on this trip at all, but isn't this wild? She calls me immediately and she's like, my grandmother and I both want you there. Come. They were leaving in 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, am I really going to do this? I'm really going to do this. And what was so interesting is I typically travel alone, and this trip was going to be a little bit different. Obviously, it was my cousin, her grandmother, and then they were going to be traveling with another woman who actually lives in Egypt, and her family is a part of the royal bloodline. And so everything that they had done for this trip that she's planned for her whole life was like planned and, deeply, obviously going to all of the tourist destinations, doing everything, but everything was figured out. The driving, the hotels, the housing, like what we were doing every day, the all-inclusive like luxury cruise that we did. So everything was planned out, which is like going back to the Venus line. I was just able to show up, right? And just totally soak in the essence of beauty. And when I landed, oh my gosh, my heart bursted into 1,000 peonies. I was like, oh, my life is a romance novel. It was so beautiful. And when we went to like the first temple, I walked in and it was the most out of body but in body experience of my entire existence. I started remembering all of these things from past lives in Egypt. And I was like, oh, I've been here before. Oh, this is a coming home. You know, that Venus IC line, like remembering your lineage as a woman in past lives. It was incredible. And I had my spirit babies visit me for the first time. I mean, it was literally the most romantic, beautiful. I was writing poetry every single day. Like it was magic.
Oh my gosh. I feel like, do you think a spirit guide in your dream told you? Like,
Oh,
a
absolutely.
guide told you to go? Because it's just so profound, and that finding home, incredible. So where else is that Venus line going through? Is it going up north, or is it going kind of diagonal?
No, it's completely going up north and down south. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it might hit, is it going through Greece too?
It's not going through Greece
Okay.
exactly. I did look. I know because I'm like, wow, I'd really love to live there.
Yeah, all of that. It's incredible. I know I
Yeah.
live on my Venus IC, and it felt like coming home for the first time. And I had never felt home anywhere else in the world. And when we were driving through Alsace, it was like, I've been here. And I cried in the car. I was like, I know this place, you know? It just,
Yes.
and it's, I call it the retirement line. Like, I want to grow old in Alsace, France, specifically where it's going right through. I'm a little bit further away from my Venus line. I'm closer to Saturn. So I've got
Mhm.
more distance from Venus. And it's fine for now, but I know eventually I want to get closer, because, you know, the closer you get, the more, you know, intense it feels.
Yes, and I was directly on it. And there were like some experiences where I was like, this needs to be written down in a book because we were like invited to high tea and we had to wear gowns and we were in this like beautiful, luxurious, opulent place. And I'm like, you can't even make this up. This is so beautiful and poetic.
Wow. And you have your moon line in Portugal, right?
That's a whole nother beautiful story. So I went to Portugal, kind of the same thing. My intuition always tells me when to go to a place, and I typically receive it in the dream realm. This is my Mercury in Pisces. So I had a dream. I needed to go to Portugal for this retreat. And so I bought a ticket. I went to this women's retreat. I didn't know a single soul. And I literally made 300 new friends and community members. And so I was surrounded by women on my Moon IC line, which was beautiful enough. Like we were on this gorgeous estate in the south of Lisbon, and it was absolute poetry. And then there was an unexpected surprise, which is that I ended up meeting my next romantic partner there, which was so synchronistic. Like it was a retreat filled with women. There was no reason for him to be there, but he knew the host and he was in the area. And she's like, why don't you come and volunteer? And so he was a volunteer. And I just thought that he was somebody's partner. So I didn't think much about it. We started talking. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, this man is meant to be in my life. And so after the retreat, we spent every waking moment together for the next 48 hours before I flew home, which never buy a round trip ticket. I've learned my lesson. But I went back to America. I packed up all of my belongings. And within a month and a half, I flew back out. We met in Mallorca and we traveled the world together for over a year.
Oh
It
my
was so beautiful. Yeah.
That's so romantic. Were you guys working and traveling, or just traveling?
Yeah, we were working both like digital nomads, entrepreneurs, doing our
Wow.
things. We traveled to so many different places. I think, at the end of our relationship, we were reflecting, and I think we like lived in 25 different cities and like 11 different countries together. Like it was just the time of our lives. And we met on the Moon IC line. And what's so beautiful about that is my moon is in Sagittarius, and he is literally the embodiment of that. Like he's been a nomad, liver, backpacker for his whole life, traveling across the world. I'm like, you really were the embodiment of my moon line to a scary degree.
Yes. And even though it was on the IC, which I'm always thinking with relationships, descendant lines, but
Mhm.
the IC, and well, the moon can be social community or connections, emotional connections with people,
Mhm.
and the fact that your moon's on the descendant in your birth chart, it's like there's something about moon lines for you that are bringing up relationships and meeting people.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I always share with my clients because they're like, well, you weren't on a descendant line. And I said, well, this is why you have to look at your natal chart because natally, I have moon conjunct Pluto on the descendant. So it's activating that story,
Yeah.
even though it's like, shining a light on a different part of my chart.
Yeah. And were there any parents there or anything I don't know if you remember if there's anything in the fifth or seventh. Did you ever look at that? I'm just
I
like,
didn't look at the relocated chart because I was only there for a week,
yeah.
but there was parents, I believe they were my Pluto nodes or something like, or Pluto moon, which is like the most intense, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I thrive off of. So,
Yeah, I love that transformation. I
yeah.
know I just bought tickets to Tony Robbins. I've never been.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been. Have you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I wasn't going to share this, but I will. So, I have never been to a Tony Robbins in person. I have
Okay.
life changing. I actually made it before I came into astrology, I made it my deepest desire to work for Tony and Dean Graziosi. And I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was Dean's copywriter and worked on things with both Tony and Dean because everything they do is so collaborative. So yeah, I'm very intimately
Oh
connected to
my
their
God.
work.
That's crazy because I'm literally going to see Tony Robbins in September on the eclipse in my 11th house of like community and groups. And
No way.
I've got three Pluto moon lines, parents, three Pluto moons in one little area. And that's where the event is happening. And so
Where is
I'm
it?
like, it's in Germany, in what's the name of the city? It's one of the bigger cities, but I'm gonna be there for like 4 days doing this event. And I'm like, well, when I saw the moon Pluto, I was like, epic transformation, like total rebirth in something within me. And I'm like, I'm ready for it. I like the challenge. But yeah, moon Pluto can be intense. I was born on a moon Pluto and can bring like a lot of like deep desires that you feel in your heart to bring out into the world. So I really like that too for moon Pluto.
Wow, that's so exciting. I cannot wait to watch you at this event. I
I
need to go to an
know.
in-person one because virtual was beautiful, but it wasn't the energy that I wanted to be, surrounded by.
Oh yeah, and being around all that energy and the people and just seeing him live on stage, I'm very curious what that's going to be like.
Oh, I love it. Oh gosh, I can't wait to watch this happen.
I know. Do you have any favorite parents that you've been on? Any favorite latitudes that you've liked as you've traveled?
I do. My favorite one right now is my sun moon.
Ooh.
I have it actually, it runs through Egypt. It runs through Austin, Texas, and it runs through Bend, Oregon. Three places that I absolutely adore. I feel the most myself I've ever felt. I feel so expressed and just filled with joy and like honestly, my energy just feels like 1,000 radiant suns on these parents. I'm just like, I can't get enough. So I send all of my clients to their sun moon parents.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, sun moons are fascinating. I have one in Bali and I love being on that latitude. What do you find comes up for you on those lines? Like for me, it's been a lot of getting clarity on goals, kind of finding this balance between like what I want to become next in my life and how can I support myself through that, through like self-care and things like that. But what have you noticed comes up for you?
I think what I've noticed the most is it's a return to my essence. It's almost like the noise of the world turns down and I'm able to feel my frequency in the purest way. I'm able to tap into my desires, my goals, my aspirations. I feel also like really radiant and expressed in my style. It just feels so yummy. And I'm like, wow, I am the most me I've ever been.
Yes, that coming home to self. Oh, I love
Mhm.
that. And that fresh start energy too. I love it. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Do you have any other favorite parents?
Yeah, Sun Uranus is my favorite. I just love it for rebellion and like kind of just like being your own. unapologetic, like authentic self. And it feels a little rebellious at times, especially because I've got Uranus on my sun right now. So it's like it's even more intensified living on a sun Uranus and having that transit. But it's also just so alive and exciting and innovative and like thinking outside of the box. So I get a ton of ideas on this latitude. And then I also love the moon Venus, but I do tend to splurge a lot on that line. Like I'll just kind of be like, I'll get 2 entrees, or like we'll get 2 desserts, or just we'll buy a lot of things at the store. There's just a lot of splurging and like not worrying about like finances, which is really nice, but it's sometimes a little too much. But the Venus moon I love. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that energy so much. Just diving into pleasure. Speaking of Uranus, I have Uranus square my Mercury and about to square my Sun right now, and Jupiter.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, that can bring you lots of cool ideas. Thinking
Mm-hmm.
outside the box,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, working in
Mhm.
astrology in the online spaces.
Yeah, I totally feel it. I wake up every day and I'm like, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. And the transit like just started last week. It's like still a few degrees out, but I can feel this like electric lightning bolt energy, which I'm sure you feel on that Paran, like the Sun Uranus Paran. It's just like, ooh, this is so cool.
I know. Have you ever played with timing with your travels or like noticing the timing where you are? Have you noticed any shifts with that?
Yes, I have had, well, one challenging timing transit that I noticed. It literally was Saturn coming over Austin, Texas, and kicked me out. Like, it kicked me out. You remember talking about that? And I was like, Helena, I don't know. I came to Austin, I loved it, and now I don't like it. And things are getting really hard. Anyway, life circumstances, I ended up leaving right as Saturn was like over Austin, Texas. But what's beautiful is I headed to Oregon right when the Jupiter transit was coming over Oregon. Oh my goodness. This is
Oh.
the most magical story. So, talk about synchronicity. I come to Oregon, this place that I was like, born and raised, and Jupiter was literally approaching, and it was around for like 3 months. This started in February. And when I came back, I ended up connecting with my first dance teacher. And she had opened a brand new dance studio a few years ago, unbeknownst to me, because I haven't been here. And she's like, Paige, we're starting a performance season like next week. And I was like, oh gosh, I haven't performed. Like, I'm a dancer. I've danced since I was 2 years old. I traveled the world doing it. It's the most beautiful love of my life. And I haven't performed, in the recital or anything. And committing to a performance season meant I was going to stay in a location for 3 months. And as a little travel bug, I was like, oh, I need to think about this. And she was like, well, let me just tell you what the theme is. So each of her performance seasons has a theme. And the theme was literally called Constellations, Dances of the Zodiac.
Oh my God, stop.
The whole thing was based off astrology, and every single dance was linked to a zodiac sign.
Oh my gosh. What
I
beautiful confirmation and synchronicities of your path.
I literally was like, God couldn't have created a more aligned opportunity for me. It literally felt like Spirit took my essence and pressed upon it in this world and created this offering. And I was like, I can't say no. This would be a disrespect to the universe to say no. And so I hopped in. I did flamenco for the first time. I did belly dance for the first time. I did modern. I did also burlesque and ballet. So I was dancing like 6 to 7 days a week. And I was the happiest I have been in years, like one of the most special pockets of my entire life. And it just opened up my joy again and my love for life again. And as the performance approached, she asked me to be the astrologer to collaborate with the show. So I got to like offer my services and do a bunch of creative work. It was the time of my life.
And that was a Jupiter transit going over Oregon.
Yes, it literally just ended in May. And I was like, oh my gosh, I might just spend the rest of my life going to Jupiter transits because that was the most magical experience.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Going places where Jupiter's going over the area. And even better if you have an astrocartography line and it hits the planet. Oh, my God. Either in a conjunction, an opposition, or a square, those hard angles, it's like it really accentuates and like almost presses the accelerator on something in your life, wherever that planet is. Oh, that's so fun. And so
Yeah.
it's so crazy because I remember you were in the class and we were talking, and I remember you said you were in Austin. And I remember looking, I think we looked at the timing and I was like, Saturn's there. What's going on? But I think maybe you were undecided at the time, but then it came in. And when it was exact, that's when you felt the call to leave.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've seen both the beautiful and abundant transits as well as the more challenging ones. I was at the time going through or wrapping up a bunch of Saturn transits, and I was like, I can stay here and learn these lessons, but I've been going through Saturn transits for over a year and I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for a new lesson. So I ended up
Yeah.
leaving.
Oh, amazing. Oh, I love that. It's so great. And that's like one of the things I always am asked is, should I move if I have a better line or a chart somewhere else? And it's like it's a really a matter of intention. What do you want? Sometimes life circumstances you can't move or you can't leave an area, but if you have the opportunity to, and in your heart that you want to expand in your life, you want a fresh start, you want something new to begin, you should go. If you get the chance, go and take advantage of it, because location really matters. And I've seen this happen for so many people where it's like they're not happy in a location, and it's like it's so clear, like they're either on a hard line or they've got a hard transit going right there in that location.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like it's been so interesting in my travels because, being a part of the spiritual community, everybody's, in these little pockets of the world. Tulum, Bali,
Yeah.
Austin. And so, I went to Tulum. It was not well for me. I went to Bali. It was my Saturn IC line. It was the hardest location I had ever been. And I was like, man, people really need to consult their astrocartography in a location, because even though everybody's raving about it, even though Bali is absolutely beautiful, and I did have the time of my life, it was also the most challenging location I have ever lived. And, me and my partner at the time planned to live there. And I was like 4 months in, I was like, I love you. This is not my place. This is your place, but this is not mine. Right. And so having that, like, making the tough decisions of, do I want to live in a location where I'm constantly being challenged, or do I want to live in a location where I feel the abundance and expansion? And every area of life and every chapter of life is going to ask you to step into a different energy, right? Like maybe we all shouldn't live on a Jupiter line our whole life. However, it's like, if you just ask yourself, like, how good can it get? And then you experience these beautiful transits, these beautiful lines. It's like, oh, why was I waiting for this?
Yeah, I know. Life is available. It's here for us to take it. We just have to decide. I'm so curious. Have you been to a Pluto line yet? Have you visited one?
I so I have, but I wasn't there long enough. I haven't been directly to it, and I'm a little like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this, just because I have Pluto aspecting everything in my chart. It is conjunct my moon, my descendant, obviously opposite my ascendant, square Mercury, Sun, Jupiter. I have Venus in the eighth. And so I'm like, I'm such a Plutonic soul in itself, no matter where I am, that I'm like, I don't know about Pluto lines. But I have had clients that really love them. Have you been to one?
Yeah, I've been to a few. I've been to one in Iceland, and then I just got back from a trip in Australia. I had one. It's my Pluto IC line, and I feel such a past life with Australia. Like I've like the minute my plane touched down, I was like, I've lived here before. It's just, and I call that the past lifeline is the Pluto IC line, because there's just something like so transformative about it and intense, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be like something literally happens to you, but maybe in a past life there's a deep connection to something that happened, and so you feel a resonance with that place. But yeah, you're so intuitive, you're so psychic. You've got your Mercury in Pisces, your sun's in Pisces as well, right?
Yeah, I have Mercury, Sun, and Jupiter all conjunct in Pisces, and I have my Mars in Pisces and South Node in Pisces.
Wow, magical. Oh, I love that. And it's like, well, because you're very intuitive. Do you ever get intuitive hits for clients before you meet with them? Because sometimes that happens before I'm even beginning research. I will literally be walking across the house doing something, and then my intuition will be like, I don't know, like some random place like Tulum or Mexico, or tell them about New Orleans. And then I'll go to the chart and there's like a beautiful pair in there, or there's a beautiful astrocartography line going right through there. And I'm like, okay, what was that? Like, that was something
Yes.
magical.
I have had that happen almost like every reading. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I have to tell my intuition, please give me these downloads as I'm preparing for the reading, because when you come in and I'm trying to drink an Americano, it's a little disruptive. But something that happened like the other day, I'll give a beautiful example of this. I had a lovely astrocartography client and friend, and I got the intuitive download to tell her, I believe it was Pennsylvania, somewhere completely random in the United States, like middle of nowhere almost. Not that Pennsylvania is the middle of nowhere, but it's just not on a coast. And anyway, and so I got the intuition to tell her about this. And I was so nervous. She had her Venus line running through this location. And I was like, this is so interesting, but I have to tell you. And she was like, Paige, get out of here. And we zoomed in on the map. Her new lover is literally from this location. She was like, I have dreams about living here. I was like, what? And she's like, yes, he used to live here. Like his entire family's from there. I have dreams about living there. And I'm like, oh my goodness. She's like, I'm so glad you told me. I'm like, me too.
Yes. I love that. Oh my God, that's such a beautiful way that you can add the intuitive work with your astrology practice, you know?
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine being only mental. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, people that aren't psychic or intuitive or just don't tap into those gifts, because I believe
Yes.
everybody is. I'm like, wow, what an interesting experience.
Oh yeah, we're all psychic. I know. I feel like a lot of times in my classes, it is so technical, but then I'll help people like tap into their inner voice and their intuition through body work, like breath work and going to the heart or to the stomach to get the answers. Because we could talk about things all day, whether it's a coaching call or, you know, what do you want more of? Like, for example, sometimes people don't know what their priority is in terms of what they're looking for on the map in the world, et cetera. And so helping people connect with their body and their breath to get that answer, because sometimes they'll think too much and they'll stay so stuck in the chatterbox, the fire hydrant of the mind, you know. And so helping people like guide them to their intuition, their inner voice to get that clarity. It's been for me one of the most profound aspects of doing readings. But yeah, I think a lot of people think that it's all mental, but it's like, no, there's intuition work too in there.
And I find that so many of my clients, particularly women, know exactly where they want to go and they just can't name it. And once we look at their chart, they'll have incredible astrocartography lines, really beautiful and harmonious parents. And they're like crying on the end of this other side of the screen. I'm like, this is just confirmation for what you already intuitively knew. Your body knew. You just didn't have the language to articulate it. And now this is like cosmic support that, yes, this place is calling you. And I see that so often with my clients of, oh my gosh, I just feel this pull. I've always felt a connection to here. They'll have a ton of home lines running through it, or their Venus line, or a moon Venus Paran. And it's just like, we know, you know, I always tell my clients, like, your astrocartography map is your personal ley line. It is your soul spread across the world. This is something that's felt in your soma, in your psyche, in your heart. And all astrocartography does is it translates that wisdom. But the wisdom is already in you. You are an intuitive being who is living this work. This is not something that's outside of you in the mental realm that astrocartographers are teaching you, right? This is helping you remember what you already knew.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I literally wrote down the timestamp of this because I'm like, this is going to be a reel. This is going to be a clip right here.
I love it.
So powerful and so profound. This is sacred work. And I really believe that, you know, when you find that thing like astrocartography that like you have, you heard about it and it's like, oh my God, I know this is it. It's like, there's something almost soul connected. Like, have you done this before in another life? You know, have you learned this? Have you taught other people this before? Because as an example, human design. I've got my human design girl on speed dial. I have meetings with her every month. I've taken courses. None of it sticks.
None
I
of
don't
it.
remember any of it. But it's like, I take an astrology class, I read an astrology text, and it's like, yes, it's like it sinks into me. It sits
Mhm.
there, you know? And I really believe that the things that you feel drawn to, but also like click, it's just, yeah, you've done it before. You know, there's a gift there that you've maybe mastered in another life or something.
Absolutely. That's so funny you say that about human design because I found human design before astrology. And I, signed up for Jenna Zoe's certification. And I was like, this is it. I found it. And, as a manifesting generator, I learned it so quickly. I devoured it. And I got to the end and I was like, this is beautiful. This is not it. And once I found astrology, it felt like I was like in a pot of honey.
Yes.
It was just the most beautiful coming home. And I was like, oh, this is it. And I have so many beautiful, human design friends and clients and people in the community. And they say the same thing about astrology. They're like, man, I've tried astrology. It just doesn't click for me. But human design is my thing. And I think, with Saturn and Aries, it's like that sacred calling is meant to be felt in your marrow. It is meant to activate you, to lead you. There's a reason why you don't resonate with one modality, but you do with another. These are the pings from the universe that are leading you on your path of destiny.
Well, tell me more about like your business. What's your favorite thing about doing astrocartography and working with clients? And yeah, tell me more about your business offerings.
Yeah, my favorite thing about my business, honestly, is helping women, specifically heart led women, like return to their radiance and their love of life again. Typically, they do this through astrocartography. Like, I have a client who literally, and many clients like this, but one in particular who was living on very challenging lines in New Jersey when we had her call. And she was like, I just don't feel like myself. I can't tap into my essence, to my soul. I feel like the life force is sucked out of me. Something's wrong. I really just want to feel myself again. She went to Sicily and she is unrecognizable. She is dancing. She is doing photography. She met the love of her life. She's so radiant. All of her friends are reaching out to me and thanking me. So it's like seeing people truly transform their life for the better is the most inspiring part of this work. Like when people take a risk on themselves, when they say, I am meant for more and this is what I want, and they take the leap and they try out these lines or they move or they change locations, it is the most fulfilling part of this entire work because I've lived it. I know how transformative it is. But when I see other people do it, I'm like, wow, this is the good life.
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to encourage people to move if they can. And
Absolutely.
it's sometimes challenging because I want to inspire people to take action to go. If they know their best spots, let's say they have the money that they have the opportunity to, but sometimes people still don't go, whether it's like they feel comfortable and they don't want to move, they don't want to sell their things, their possessions, or maybe they have family and they don't want to be away from their grandkids. Do you have any like encouragement or words of inspiration to kind of encourage people to go if they feel that calling on their heart? Yeah, like how can we inspire those to make these big shifts in their life? Or do you think it's divinely fated and timed and they'll go when they're meant to go?
I think if you're listening to this and you feel the bubbles, the swirling in your stomach and your solar plexus, and you know this is resonating and you're like, this is me, you are meant to jump off that cliff. And I can tell you time and time again, I have jumped off more cliffs than I could ever count in this life. And I have always been caught. I have always been held. When you live from a place of bravery, when you live from a place of trust in your timing, in your intuitive nudges, you are rewarded far past anything that you could ever expect or plan. And once you do that more and more, it's like you build this trust muscle with the universe. And the universe says, the more you lean into your desires, the more you will be rewarded. And once you do that, once you live that life, you never go back, ever.
Yeah, I know. It's like once you taste that freedom, that aliveness,
Yes.
it's like you can't go back. You can't go back to an old way of being, it's like the point of no return.
Yes.
And once you experience it, it's kind of like, yeah, people who go to certain places in the world where they feel that sense of aliveness and then they don't want to go back home because it's a different energy, or maybe they quit their job, but then they get another offer that's similar and they're like, no, I felt the freedom. I felt what my life could be. I can't go back to an old dimension or an old way of being.
Absolutely. And that's really a part of the work that I'm so passionate about right now. Obviously, astrocartography is infused in everything that I do. And I'm going to be opening a new offering, which is really helping the multidimensional woman. I am all mutable in my chart. I contain multitudes, as we all do. And every time I try to put my nose to the grindstone with one modality, which is beautiful for mastering, which I'm really great at, but I feel like I lose a part of my essence. And my work is to truly help these individuals like come radiantly alive again, to live out every single part of their soul, right? To be the dancer, to be the traveler, to also be the astrocartographer, to also be obsessed with style and beauty, and let all parts of you exist and flourish and find your best places in the world to do that. And so I'm just so called right now to really help leaders in particular that are like living out their soul mission, giving their gifts to the world, but also have these like whispers. Oh, I'd really like to take up this hobby. Oh my gosh, I used to dance, or I used to do photography when I was little, but it doesn't make sense to my audience. It doesn't make sense to my brand. Like, that is the woman that I'm so excited and lit up to serve, because once I allowed all parts of me to exist, absolute poetry.
Oh yeah.
Absolute poetry.
And people really need that permission too. I mean, I just posted 2 YouTube videos years ago about being a manifesting generator and just talking about being multi-passionate. So many people feel seen and heard, and like I gave them permission to do what they actually wanted to do. And it's like, oh my God, I didn't know that y'all needed this. But for some reason it resonated with a lot of people. This is such a important work. This is such important work to do that, to encourage and inspire people to follow all their different passions, especially in this time that we're living in with Neptune and Saturn entering Aries. It's like, you've got to do you. You've got to be yourself and follow your like self, leadership. And if that means making choices that are against the status quo, or maybe just different from what you're used to, or what your parents are used to, you've got to jump off that cliff. Oh, you're the perfect person to do it too. You're beautiful, Pisces, all the mutable, the Pisces love. And where do you have Jupiter as well?
The Jupiter is in Pisces, conjunct my sun and Mercury in the 10th house.
In the 10th house. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you're meant to shine and do all of that. Oh, I'm so excited for you. And astrocartography is just such an incredible tool to help people get there too.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, with these current transits, there's never been a more potent time to honor your individuality and run with it, to be the multi-dimensional, multi-passionate individual, because it's in Aries.
Yeah.
It's time to go. It's time to be so in love with your life. It's time to be so in love with your essence and lit up. Like, if you are not in love with your astrology chart, you've missed the point of astrology. This is your soul. You have to honor it. You have to love it. Like, this is a tool of empowerment, which makes me so activated, because a lot of, as you know, kind of the rhetoric, kind of the older, astrology, sometimes the programming is very fear-based. It's very, oh, well, you can't do this because you have this square this, or, oh, you can't live this life because you have this square this. And I tell all of my clients, anytime they're like, well, I Googled this aspect, I'm like, honey, you don't Google aspects, okay? You come to an astrologer who has Jupiter conjunct the sun and conjunct Mercury, and you remember your joy, and you remember that this is literally a tool to come alive again. If any system, any modality boxes you in, you've missed the point of it. And so it's like, this is the time to fall in love with your essence and to use your astrology to create the most beautiful life that you could ever imagine.
Oh my God, that's so inspiring. And I know, and so many people, especially in the traditional astrology, like the older generations, a lot of the older people in the astrology world, it's like this is bad. And if you have, Mercury or Venus or the sun in this placement, it's bad. And it's like, no, you just have a different way of seeing it and using it. And there's so many gifts in that. And yeah, I feel like that's a Jupiter thing too. Like Jupiter placements. If you have a prominent Jupiter, Sag, or Pisces energy in your chart, it's like you see the positive of everything. Like you're able to see all sides of everything too, which I think is also just so important in the astrology community and spaces.
Absolutely. That's also why I love Geminis and Gemini risings. It's because like we're able to see all perspectives, to not remain rooted in one way or one dogma or one,
Yeah.
way of thinking about something. And it's just like I am so Jupiterian in my essence and in my energy. And I think, we need more astrologers. We need more leaders that are living in this abundant mindset, that are living in this joy. Like, that's why I was so attracted to you, because I was like, she is the most joyful leader that I know, right? Like, you're not approaching this like, oh my gosh, this is hard. This is heavy. This is fear-based. It is like, no, this is like the love of my life. This is the work of a lifetime. I'm here to help. I'm alive and available to be of service. And it's like, if we need anything in this world right now, it's hope and it's optimism. Find yourself some Jupiter astrologers. Find yourself some people that are holding the vision of the most beautiful earth in life that we can imagine, because that's how we're going to get there.
That's how we're going to get there. Those people are going to get us out of whatever challenges come about in the reality. We need to hold on to faith.
Yes.
Faith can get through, like, well, I'm going to say that again. Faith can get us through anything. It really does, holding on to that hope. And what a beautiful time we're talking about this with Jupiter and Cancer. I just love that.
I know. And such an aligned time for people to find their homes on Earth.
I know.
So beautiful.
And so you took the certification program.
Yes.
For the live program, and now you're on the directory of readers on my website. My recommended reader that's doing this. How did you enjoy the course?
Hands down. And Helena, I have a Gemini rising. I have my moon in Sag. I have taken every course. I have worked with every practitioner, every teacher, every podcast. I devour books for breakfast. Your certification was hands down the best course I have ever invested in and I have ever been a part of. And I am picky. I love to go deeply into things. Like, I have Pluto square my Mercury. I love the details. I want you to go into the nuance. I want to know the 1,000 different params that we can have. I want all of it. And you provided that. It was so life altering. I came into it and I was already, a professional astrologer. I had a very, extensive background, which was really supportive coming in. And still, I feel like I learned lifetimes from your certification. And not only was the knowledge and the wisdom so life altering for both my business and my personal life, but it really grew and expanded my confidence. Being certified from you was like, oh, wow, I can do this. Oh, wow, this person does see my gifts. She believes in me as much as I believe in myself. Like, it's go time, and being on the directory, as I've shared with you privately, it was one of the most aligned decisions that I've made for my business, because it was like almost this luminous magnet for my humans. And it's been like this sun that has just washed over my life and brought in clients that have transformed me, and I have transformed them, like soulmate clients. And they're probably listening to this like, I found her through the directory. When we hop on these calls and I see that they're from the directory, I already know I'm going to love them. And I have the most insane synastry with them in our astrology. And so the directory, the certification, I cannot recommend it enough. Absolutely life-changing.
And you're one of the first people I think about on the directory and just the certification program. Your evidence portfolio was magical and so in depth. I was like, oh my gosh, Paige is going to be huge.
Oh, I love
Huge. She's
you.
going to be a huge astrologer. Like, oh my gosh, so epic. And that's so sweet. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's so funny you mentioned about the synastry piece about finding your clients and you have great synastry. I'm a big believer that your people will find you. And like they feel drawn to you, your picture, your bio, there's a feeling, there's an energy, there's a calling, and then you pull up the chart and it's all there. It's like, of course they found me, of
Of
course
course.
my kindred spirits found me. And I think about that a lot with just like the people I've befriended and become friends with. They started out as clients and then, they've had multiple readings with me. And so I've gotten to really know them. And then we become friends. And like we meet up when they come to Paris, or if I come to LA, like I see them in town and then we become friends. And it's like, or like my coach, Rachel, my business coach, or my copywriter, Miranda, like they were all clients. And I felt a click immediately in that call. And years later, we're still having these incredible business relationships and friendships too. It's amazing how when you put yourself out there and you share your gifts and your talents, there's so many blessings that you don't even think about, like finding more friends and community, like there's just so many blessings to finding your calling and doing what you love.
Absolutely. And two really beautiful stories that I will share that have come from the directory. One of them, this woman had found me. She followed me on Instagram. I didn't know she was from the directory. When I clicked on her profile, I got full body chills. And I was like, this is interesting. What's this about? And I started seeing like visions of us working together. And I was like, okay, let's just take a deep breath, kind of set it aside. She ended up booking a reading, the most aligned client. Shout out, Sarah. I love you. A few months later, she emailed me and she was like, I would love to invite you into my group program to serve my women in human design. I want you to serve my clients with astrocartography because you've changed my life with this work and I want to offer it to my clients. And so through that one directory client, I have received so many abundant opportunities through her group program. And it has just been so expansive. And so the directory just keeps giving back to me. It's almost like, those flowers where you plant the bulb and then every year they grow and grow and grow and you never have to worry about them, but they just keep coming back. That is what the directory feels like. It feels like a flower that is constantly blooming. And another woman who came to me from the directory, so aligned too. She has literally sent me her entire friend group. I have had so many referrals from this woman. I am just like, wow, it's not just the one client that comes in and that feels aligned. When you are truly here to serve people and you make it your intention to be the most helpful astrologer and astrocartographer and to give from your heart, you will change lives. I have seen it. And that one life that you change goes on to change other lives and other lives and other lives. And it's just so expansive and so exciting to be alive at this time and to be a practitioner of this work.
Yeah. Sharing your light, it's infectious, it spreads further out than anything else, any other energy. Light is the most powerful energy out there. Love energy is the most powerful, infectious energy out there. And so it's your duty to everyone listening. It is your duty to show up and find those things that bring you joy and magic and make you feel alive. Because when you talk about it and you share it with others, it's a ripple effect. It's like a spider web. It just goes out and spreads further. Oh, you are such a light. You are so magical, such an inspiring leader. And I'm so excited to see what you do. So many amazing things are coming to you. And I can't wait for everyone listening to watch you, to follow your expansive life and business prosper in the years to come. Where can people find you?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Helena. My cheeks are like aching from smiling during this call. I'm like, oh, get two Jupiter women together. It's just
No.
smiles forever, giggles forever. Thank you so much for inviting me on and just allowing me to speak from the heart and to connect with your audience. It's just been such a joy as you've impacted my life in so many beautiful ways through the certification, through the directory, through the leadership that you embody from your joyful essence and your passions that exude from you. And so you really have been such a beautiful mentor and friend to me. So thank you so much for having me. And yes, people can find me on Instagram at Paige Otis. That is where all of my astrocartography offerings will be. My new offering that's coming out for the multidimensional mystic. Oh, I'm so excited. So yes, that is where you can find me, connect with me, and send me a message that you listened to the episode. I would love to know that too.
Thank you. And everyone, you can find the links in the show notes. Follow her on Instagram. Check out her website. I'm so excited for your offering that's coming very soon. So stay tuned on Instagram. And what a joy to have you here. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Helena. I've just had the best time. It is like, honestly, two little fairies sitting in the garden, talking for hours. It's just the best feeling to connect with you. And this has just been such a beautiful opportunity. So thank you for having me on.